Can you hear me now? This is a class on log step building. Hopefully you can hear me if I'm sitting over here. It's pretty straightforward, but there are some tricks to it, especially when you're doing some notching. I build my log steps from the bottom up, and it's a really slick system. I only need to use nails or fasteners, GRKs or whatever, at the top where it's light. But I didn't even need them here because there's a cement slab at the top. Here's what you do. You cut a log. There's no notching on that bottom one. That's the only one that's not notched. I just laid it right on the ground. And then you see these, let's call those rails that go in. They're actually dug into the hillside a bit. Like there's probably 2 feet at least where it's into the hillside. Now for notching, I use a chainsaw. The first step, because I have 2 notches, one here and one here, one on each rail, that have to, no, forget I said that. I first with the chainsaw cut just a shallow V, just zoom, zoom, and I'm sideways with the log. The log is like this, shallow V. And then I'll set it on there and get kind of an idea of what I have to do as far as the length. And then I am straight onto the log. And I use the nose of the chainsaw, resting it against my leg and sweeping back and forth because that nose is round. Now you will run into trouble if you take a chainsaw and you're inexperienced and you just stick the end right onto a piece of wood because it'll ride up that wood and cut your head in half. You have to be careful and know what you're doing. But yeah, I can make any diameter round notch by just sweeping with the round tip of the chainsaw from both sides of the log. Lay those on there, kind of fill them in. This is where you have to be careful on either side. This one's kind of tilted a little bit, but hey, you know, it's good enough. That notch right there bugs me, but I can live with it. I do the same thing. Put my finger underneath it, rotate the log so it is the way I like it. The best thing to do is make sure it's got its best round side and there's no like weird shapes on the top where it fits on the next rails up. But I'll make 2 shallow knots, or put my finger underneath it, mark with a Sharpie, correct orientation, make shallow notches, V's, just V's, set them on there to see that the V's are sitting squarely, that I didn't like rotate the V on one side. When I'm confident, after adjusting that V, then I hit it with the nose of the chainsaw. And I just keep working my way up. Some notes here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got 5, and they're adjustable. They are. You can kind of slide them back and forth to get whatever spacing you want. You adjust, you know, making sure everything is even to the top, that cement pad, by just adjusting the depth of the notch and the thickness of the log. Here's the trick on the top. Now I was sitting there watching FBI with Dylan McDermott, and it hit me. How can I get the top ones, the top rails, let's call the ones that go straight into the hillside, how can I get those top rails underneath that cement pad securely? This is what I did. I first notched them. And picture this. This is the log step, and this is the rail. The notch is going to be the same, because with a draw knife on that side, this was round all the way around. That was kind of funny. Made it round so it's even all the way around, so the notch would fit no matter if I rotated the rail. Got the notch the way I wanted it, and those actually splay out so the notch is at an angle. Set the top of it on the cement slab, marked where it was going to be, cut it at an angle because it's going into the cement slab at an angle. I know this is complicated without drawings or seeing me do it. And then, here's the tricky part. I flattened it where it sits up against that cement rail and underneath made a chisel with the chainsaw, because that chisel will make that log want to rise as you drive it in with a sledgehammer. If you take a stake and you're going to put it into the ground to stake a log, and you put the chisel on this side, when you drive it in, it's going to want to rotate. I call it porpoising. And so those things are sitting, bam, against the cement slab and pinning that top step down. That was tricky. But yeah, I don't know if you're going to ever build log steps. And hopefully, if you are, you've got something out of it. It's free if you've got access to cedar. Cut them in the spring, it makes peeling them a lot easier. Unfortunately, I only use live trees, but trees that are dying, I know they're not going to make it, so I'm not killing the preserve here. That's a good, cheap way to make super cool steps. That's about it. I'm beaten. I'm going to take a sweep. You'll see the shredded bark I put on here on the trails. That bridge in the distance you'll see, I actually made the lumber for that bridge using my chainsaw and some down dead cedars in an Alaskan mill. But yeah, it's kind of hard to get up. My whole body is hurting. Boom, boom, boom. And I backfilled with dirt on this side. I put rocks there to keep the dirt from spilling out, and then I just backfilled there and put shredded bark on it, old shredded bark, and it's good. And these, that's a nice joint right there, same as the other side, was driven underneath that cement slab, porpoised up, and it's pinning this down. Oh, I need to replace that handrail section. It's old and scabby. It's a lot of shredded bark. Let's scamper over to this bridge. I built this probably 15 years ago. Free wood. These are called wings. Got 4 wings on each side. So let me put that there. Veritas, or Lehman, or Lehigh Valley, bought the tenon cutters. That's 1-inch tenon cutter, matching spade bit, and then those, and them, and that stuff. Anyway, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to eat. Have a good one. Thank you for watching.